time. We don't have much time to do what? Look at them. Now, I am going to be with you here simply because you guys are supposed to identify the facts and also to understand what happens in which part of the system altogether. Now, we are going to start with what we call the digestive system. And in the digestive system, we are looking at how do the animal derive its nutrients. Of course, the digestive system is responsible for the animal to convert what they call the pasture or feeds into what we call the nutrients. And the nutrients is what we are supposed to be taking into the blood system. But we don't take the whole grass. We take only the nutrients that is removed or sieved, something that has been filtered.
Yes.
And this is the filtering system for the digestion or for the food. Until it reaches a point where the body now can accept to take it into the system altogether. Now, the system or the digestive system, in the simple terms, it starts from where? From the mouth altogether. Now, the food is supposed to be gasped with what? What we call the prehension. Okay?
Yeah.
It is supposed to be prehended. The food is supposed to be prehended by the use of the tongue. If you look at the tongue is a little bit rough, and this roughness helps it to what? To grab the food altogether.
Yeah.
Now, once it grabs the food, of course, the food is supposed to be cut by use of this teeth altogether. Now, what type of teeth do we have here? The scissors, isn't it? Remember, the upper one, we have only we call this one what? Estima. Okay? They got what? Dental what? Good.
Yes.
Human beings, you have the what? Then this one, you have the dental what? Good. Now, once it is here, it's supposed to be taken to the behind one. The behind arrangement of what? Dental arrangement behind here. What do you have here behind?
The molars and
The molars and premolars.
Molars and what?
Premolars.
And premolars. To do what we call the mastication of what? Of food. That means the food is supposed to be broken down straight from here. At least the big particles is supposed to be at least what? Cut into a smaller part. Mechanical. That is what we call mechanical what? What digestion takes place in the mouth here? Mechanical. And then chemical digestion, does it take place here?
No.
I am asking you again, is there any digestion, chemical digestion that takes place in the mouth? No. What is the use of the saliva It is present in what?
it is
monogastric, is it? Good. So now you understand. But I was asking you, what is the use of salivary amylase? To begin, digestion of what? Which is normally done in what? In the mouth. In monogastric. Now, from here, of course, now the food is supposed to be swallowed. Yeah? By the help of the tongue. And then the rough surface here. Yeah? This is what we call the what? How do we call it? The upper one. Rough palate. How to get it? It's supposed to now, be, with the help of that and the tongue, we push the food or in forms of bolus down to what we call the what? From here, where we shall we reach? From the mouth, we are going to reach where? Are we going to reach esophagus directly without reaching larynx or parapharynx? We pass where? There is pharynx and larynx. Which one is supposed to close and which one is supposed to open to allow the food to go down? Pharynx opens and then larynx closes, isn't it? And then the food will move into what we call the esophagus. Now, the esophagus contains a number of muscles, and this takes the food. It's a tube, okay? It's an hollow tube that is supposed to transport food from the mouth until it reaches where? The first chamber of the what? Stomach. Altogether.
Yes.
Now here, remember, we are going to have the contraction and relaxation of what? Of the muscles. That will allow the food to go, and that process is called. The process is called peristalsis. Now, once the food has moved, of course, it is going to move. And food are moving. Now this what we call the what? The first stomach chamber, which is the largest. It's called the what? In the rumen, and the rumen looks like this. A rumen is what we call the towel-like structure. Yeah? With a very thick what? Stomach what? Very thick stomach walls altogether. Now, this one is supposed to store food altogether. The food comes here and is stored, softened, all right, and then fermented, all right. And what helps it ferment by the help of the what? The microflora altogether, which will help to break down the long chain of the what? The starch. That can now easily be what? Broken down by when it reaches a certain particle, a certain chamber. Now, in this chamber, remember that the food that has not been well masticated will be taken back by the process called what? Regurgitation. Now, in the regurgitation process is what the parts of the food that has not been digested or crushed or broken down properly will be regurgitated, taken back to be chewed, and that is what we call chewing what? The cud. Now, once it is chewed, it will have to go through the three processes. That is regurgitation, remastication, and reswallow. Okay? Supposed to be regurgitated, remasticated, and then reswallowed back. Now, once it reaches here, of course, the food that has already been here, remember, is going to be churned. Okay? The churning of food by the process of also this mechanical movement of the what? The stomach. Ruminal what? Movement. We will churn this food before it descends it into what we call another pocket. That is known as the reticulum. Now, the reticulum looks like this. It's the pocket-like with the inside part that looks like what? The honeycomb. Even if I break only a small piece like this and bring for you in exam, you should be able to differentiate between rumen and but still, even after I've showed you like this, you will go back and then faint.
No.
When you faint, I will tell you, you will have been cast. You will have been what? Cast. And I don't want this casting to be to reach you people. Yeah? Now, once the food is reached here, remember there is what we call the purification of food. They are going to remove what they call the undigestible substances. Adwares. How together? Yes. The name of plastics, stones, nails, metals, all of them are going to be sealed and removed and left here. Okay? Before this food is taken again to another chamber, which is called the what? Omasum. The omasum is the third one. Compartment, which is called, it's like a book what? It contains this kind of flaps, the wings, the pages. These are wings and pages and flaps, okay? Now, this also have what we call the back and forth movement, all right? Which helps also to do what, to continue with the digestion of what? Of food, grinding it into finer particles altogether. So this one, for it, its work is also to remove excess what? Water. It removes excess water from here, and then before it is taken down to the last one, which is called what? The true stomach. Now, in the true stomach is what we call the bomasum. Bomasum is the true stomach because it has the glands. The glandular what? Stomach. It is called the glandular stomach, which produces the what? The enzymes that are responsible for the what? For digestion of different food nutrients. Okay. Yes. Now, in this, I want us to discuss this together. I want us to know what type of enzymes are produced here and what are the uses of this enzyme. Somebody to tell me one enzyme and tell me the uses. First of all, hydrochloric acid is produced by the walls of the what? Of the stomach, which helps to do what? Helps information again. Yes. Yeah, the HCl is supposed to kill any other germs that must have escaped from the what? From the food sample up to here. Remember, it's supposed to eliminate them first. And then secondly, what reactivates other enzymes? HCl is supposed to activate enzymes. And which enzyme is supposed to be activated by the HCl? Activate pepsin into what? Pepsinogen. Now the pepsin or pepsinogen is responsible for digestion of what? Proteins altogether. 2 amino acids. Then from amino acids, it breaks it down further to what we call fats again. Or peptides. It now breaks it downwards to what? To peptides. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hope you guys passed through senior 4. If you have not passed through senior 4 and you have stopped in P7 and you branched to a certain school, technical school, and now you are here, we have met. There's no problem. We have met. This is where I'm going to ask you to understand, because you have been teaching. We have been teaching about digestion from P7. Food enters the stomach. ACL is responsible for the activation of this and also removing all the germs. And now that is what the children are learning. The children are even singing it over the TV. If you watch, kids of P5 are singing this thing. Now we talked about the what? The ACL, and we have talked about the pepsin that is converted into pepsinogen, which is responsible for the breakdown of proteins to what? To amino acids up to peptides altogether. Now the peptides are the small ones that is supposed to be now assimilated to the blood what? System altogether. Now once it reaches the bloodstream, that's when it will now go to other systems, like the process of glycolysis. Yeah? That is for when we are talking about protein, when we are talking about carbohydrates. Okay? The glucose now goes to what we call the process of what? Of glycolysis process, and then the subsequent processes that will help until it reaches the cell, which is used as energy. Okay?
Yes.
That energy is called what? The AT what? The ATP altogether.
Yeah.
Generated by what? Good. That is what we use as energy. Yes. Now, once the food is here, remember that we have other accessory what? Organs that is supposed to produce a number of what? A number of enzymes. Also, it will produce what? Now we have the liver. In the liver, we have the liver produces what? The liver produces bile, and this bile is responsible for emulsification of what? Fatty foods. Now that means it helps or aids in the digestion of what? Of fats, and this one helps a lot to produce that. And the bile, sometimes you find that it has a pocket like this. It is greenish in color. When you are killing chicken, you know how it looks like. Yeah. Now we have also the mesenteries, and the mesenteries have got some organs which are called what? The organs which are called the what? The pancreas, isn't it? Now, what is the use of the pancreas? It produces the pancreatic what? Juice. And inside the pancreatic juice, what is there contained in the pancreatic juice? What is responsible for coagulation of milk? What? Renin is responsible for the coagulation of what? Of milk. That is producing what? My work is to show you where it is the parts which are there. Then you go back and read. You have notes. I am not going to help you to revise your books. Because in the theory is what you ask in theory. That is the thing. Isn't it? Yeah. In practical, when you come here to identify the parts and the functionality of those parts, that's it. Yes. You want to confuse that part here? No. You will be done here. Remember, it may not complete. Altogether. Yes. Now, the foods that has already been digested will have to be assimilated to the bloodstream. That means it will enter the pylorics and then it passes the end part. Okay? It will now go to what we call the what? The small intestine. Now, in the small intestine, it has what they call the projections. And those projections are armed in all the mucosal membrane, or the inside part of the what? Of the small intestine. Now, it is what we call the villi, okay? Yeah. The villi. Now, this villi is armed with what we call the blood capillaries. And the blood capillaries, it will protrude. That will allow what we call the exchange of what? Of nutrients altogether. Yeah. Now, the exchange of nutrients can either be due to what we call the diffusion process. That will diffuse, the food nutrients will diffuse into the blood what? System. Or it will be by active what? Transport, are we together? Yeah. Across membranes. Remember, in the small intestines, not all the digestion will have been what? Completed. Still there is continuation of the what? Digestion, are we together? Now food will go and move, and the ones that have already been taken, the digestion will take place and will still continue. As it moves into the what? The small intestines to what we call the colon, or the large what? Intestines. Now in the large intestines, there is going to be removal of what? Water, and then the food is going to be what? Solidified at least into what we call the formation of now feces. Are we good? Yes. Now the waste product is now going to be expelled out through the opening that is called the what? The rectum or the anus. This is a small intestine and it's armed with pancreas. It is just formed around. You can see. Now, also in this, we also have some nodes. Okay? The lymph nodes also here all over the mesenteries. See, these are all lymph nodes. But now, when you're talking about the lymphatic system, that's when we shall talk about the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are found in the mesenteries, the lymph nodes are found in the carotids, the lymph nodes are found everywhere. That one is in the lymphatic what? System. How to get? Now, the lymphatic system should be going hand in hand with the saturated what? System. How to get? So with the digestive system, tentatively or simply, we can stop there. Okay? These are the members that help you to break down the what? The food particles in your stomach. These are called the microflora that are formed in the what? They are not bad. They are even they has a lot of proteins. You can even eat and then be satisfied. Because now this one, when they washed, once it washed, they will die. Of course, when they reach here, the ACL will kill them. Okay? Once they kill them, they will be digested and then again re-assimilated into bloodstream. It's full of proteins. Are you getting it? Yeah. The animal will again put it back into the blood what? System. Now, the reproductive system is what causes what is used in the reproduction, isn't it? That is where the copulation or mating takes place. In fact, when you're dealing with breeding, we deal with what we call the reproductive what? System. Out here. Now, the reproductive system comprises of the following parts. We have what we call, this is called what? The whole thing is called what? The testicle, isn't it? This one is called the testicle itself. Now, in this testicles, we have what we call the covering or the pocket. The pocket that covers the testis is called what? The scrotum. Now, the scrotum is a muscle or it's a skin, like the skin-like muscle that helps in protecting the what? The testis. It is a pocket-like that covers it. All together. Now, inside here, we have what we call the testes. The testes are supposed to be how many? Two. We have how many? Two. Yes, that means that we have a septum that divides the two. Okay? Yes, there's a septum here that divides the two what? Testicles. Now, inside this, remember we have the testicle, and a testicle is attached to a particular part which is called the what? Epididymis. They are always attached to the what? The testes. I don't have a knife. That is supposed to have what we call this penis is supposed to hang. Okay? It's what we call the what? The pendulous what? It is suspended or it is attached to the body. By what?
By that one.
This thing is supposed to be dangling like this. Why is it supposed to be out like this and dangling? For temperature what? Yes, to regulate the temperature. It is supposed to be out like this so that the temperature can regulate. These things are supposed to be two. Now, if you have a condition where there's only one like this one, then that means that this one is a lame person. For it has some kind of a manual. It is going to malfunction in one way or the other. More especially, this one is not good for selection when you're doing selection for breeding. Are we together? Yes. Now, this one, sometimes the sperms can be so sterile. It may not be working. It doesn't work well. It might produce a very weak one, weak sperm that cannot swim through. Remember that we have a very long shaft. This shaft, remember, the sperm is supposed to move from here until it is supposed to get into the system of the, or it reaches the canal blood. Now, the testis is attached to by what we call the what? The epididymis. The epididymis is supposed to be responsible for the production of what? Of sperm. Then it's supposed to be stored in the what? In the testis. Are we together? Now, once it's stored there, remember that during copulation, the animal is supposed to exaggerate and send the things to where it is concerned. Okay. It's supposed to be moving where it is concerned. Where it is concerned is supposed to reach the uterus. Once it reaches the uterus, it's supposed to go until it meets in the what? The fallopian what? Tube. And that is where the fertilization will do what? Okay? Now, the penis has got what we call the accessory what? Glands. And these glands are responsible for production of a number of what? Fluids. First of all, one, it produces fluids that will neutralize the acidity of the what? The vagina. How to get? Yeah. Sometimes you remember that the sperm and the semen are different things. The content of the semen has the secretion from all this what? The accessory what? Glands. How to get? Yeah. Now in the semen, of course, we are going to have the secretion or fluid that will neutralize the acidity of the what? Of the female reproductive system. A woman has very acidic vagina, vaginal walls, and then it enters the reproductive system. If the thing goes, the sperm goes there without the neutralization, it means that all those sperms will die. Okay. Now, there also in the semen, it also contains what we call what? The nutrients. That it will help to provide the energy for the sperm to what? To swim. That means it attaches the tail, then allows it to what? To swim through the long journey. How to get? What we call the prostate what? Glands, which are somewhere around here. Yeah? The glands that are responsible for that. And then also remember that here we have a bladder which is also directly attached to the what? The penis, which allows this urine to go and be expelled out through the what? The penis. How to get? Yeah. That is this is what we call the bladder. Yeah? It is here. Now we have a muscle here that is responsible for the expansion and the contraction, right? The relaxation and expansion of the what? This muscle is called what? What? Erectile muscle. This erectile muscle is the one that helps the animal to release the bone out. It allows if the animal erects like this, of course you see this thing, it is supposed to be already straightened. When it is straightened, it is on the way that it will reach where the animal is supposed to reach. Okay? Yeah. It is supposed to reach where they are supposed to deposit what? The sperm. It is long like this because the animal itself, the female animal, the reproductive system is long enough to allow and accommodate this. So this is what we call the what? The shaft. The shaft. The penis what? The penis shaft is covered with what we call the prepuce. The prepuce is this muscle that is in front that covers the what? The penis head. And there we have what's called the head. The head of the penis is here. And the head is the one that is so sensitive. Yeah? Sensitive nerve. It has sensitive nerves. When it touches, it is one that reacts and allows the sperm to be released, and then it becomes and follows the body. Okay? Yeah. So this is the reproductive system in simple terms for an animal like what? So you should know that it has an organ like the penis itself. The muscles will allow it to relax and contract. It has what they call accessory glands, prostate glands, and then another glands. Then we have the what? The bladder, which is attached directly to this. It allows to move the what? The urine out together. Yes. And out. Out together. Yes. So that's for that.